Hello everyone, Russ of Aquariumax here. There, I had it on the reverse camera. We're going to check out the Mourning Gecko vivarium here. I'm going to try to feed him, see if we can get some to do something interesting. You can see hopefully the one in the back up at the top there. There's several adults in here. And then some of them are in these floral tubes. You can see their heads poking out there. So someone asked me recently if I would do an update. So yeah, we'll see how it goes. I would like to hopefully see them out and about doing their thing as they hunt. They'll often pop out and hunt when I drop the fruit flies in there. So we're going to try that and see how it goes. So let's see. What do we got? So Robert, hello. Make It Kate, hi, welcome. Wally with Supreme Gecko. Yeah, I figured you'd like this topic. And Jay's Crazy Obsessions. Wow, why didn't it tell me you were live? Oh, I just went live. Actually, it's just been like a minute, so you're good. Something like that. Yeah, it's been about a minute. So you're roly-poly person, hey? And no, Jay, Jay's Crazy Obsessions really didn't miss much. My Facebook post says 5:30? It does? Weird. Okay. Sorry, I messed it up somewhere. I messed up the timing. It was supposed to say 4:30. Ah, sorry about that. That's not what I meant to do. Okay. So, Primetime Gecko, hey. And Rochelle Nielsen Huntley, hey. Greetings. And Pinchman. Oh, I just switched the camera around. Sorry about that. It's not what I meant to do. Too dark in here. I don't know if you guys can see the eggs of the geckos. Oh, you probably can. Up at the top there. There was an adult in front of the eggs obscuring them, but you can see a couple of them. I can probably see more than you can see. There are a few up there. There are a couple you can just barely see. The crown of this little bonsai style tree here. And usually it is the same time. Usually it's 5:30, but during the summer sometimes things are a little bit different. So I try to just give everybody a warning, put out the notifications, but that doesn't always work, as you know. So, and Cognac Young, here, welcome. All right, so as you can see here, if you've seen the original video where I put this together, I made quite a few changes. This is some kind of ficus tree with a very thick little trunk down there. Hopefully you can see that. I don't know how it's showing up, but it's got a really thick trunk. It's kind of functioning as a bonsai in here. And then I've got the dwarf Sansevieria plants have been growing a lot, and then the ficus species Panama has finally picked up a little bit. What I would like to do now is actually try feeding them and see how they do. So let's do it. JC, here with my guinea pig watching you on TV with a cup of hot chocolate. Why can't every day be like this? That sounds pretty cool, actually. Chilling with a guinea pig and some hot chocolate and some Aquariumax pets, huh? So let's open it up. This is a little tricky because I'm just using my hands to do all this. So it's going to be a little wobbly when I put these bugs in here. But here's some Heidi fruit flies dusted with Rapashi Calcium Plus. I think that's what I dusted them with, pretty sure. And let's see how they do. Let's see if they decide to hunt. You know, it just kind of depends on how hungry they are. We'll see. But it's really fun to watch them hunt if they'll go for it. If they don't, that's cool. We'll move on to some different animals. So we'll check it out. But let's see if we get any geckos doing their thing. I think sometimes they see this big red case, my iPad case, and it freaks them out. When I'm just looking at them, it doesn't freak them out as much. But, oh, I see one up in the corner looking at a fruit fly on the plant, you know, the one in the floral tube. See how I've taped the floral tubes up there? Let's see if she's going to go for it. I know it's a little dim, dimmer than I thought it would be in here, because the light's actually really bright, but this plant is obscuring a lot of the light. So we'll see. Yes, Jay's Crazy Obsessions, thank you. Okay, well, we'll talk about basic care while we're seeing if any of them are going to eat. That's a good idea. I like that. Evan Bulcao, thanks for getting excited about isopods. They have A. maculatum, A. vulgare, Santa Lucia, and Porcelinois prinosis orange cultures. Excellent. Very good choices, too. All of those are great species. Thanks, Bob at Steamfight Aquatics. Thank you for dropping me a like, and thank you for getting the likes going. Yep, that adult there is interested in that fly, so let's see if she's going to hunt it down. She's kind of in the top middle of the screen there. So, Jay's Crazy Obsessions, let's do it. Basic care guide on these. These are essentially like crested geckos in their care. So, you've got to do... oh, here she goes. Check her out. She's going to go after that fly. Nice. Hope you can see that okay, but that worked pretty well, I think. Still a little dim in here, dimmer than I would like, but that was pretty clear. Okay. Oh, and we're getting a like spike. We're getting some more likes there. Nice. And welcome, Crystal Pets and Plants. So these guys are a lot like crested geckos in terms of care. The temperature range is about room temperature, between, say, 65 and 80. They can handle up to 85, but they don't really like. Any warmer than that is dangerous, and between 80 and 85 is kind of on the slightly maybe uncomfortable side. It starts to stress them a little bit. They can, handle short periods of time a little warmer, but they don't really like it warm. Room temperature is great. They're nocturnal, although they'll come out to hunt at any time of the day. I'm just gonna look around, see if I can see any other ones that are up on the back. They love that cork bark, and they'll climb on that a lot. So, they're not doing a ton right now, but we'll just keep an eye out for a minute longer while I explain this. They don't necessarily need UVB, although it probably does benefit them, just like it does with a lot of nocturnal reptiles. The more research has been done, the more we find out that UVB is beneficial for a lot of these nocturnal creatures that will expose themselves to a small amount of UVB for a short period of time. Like in the morning or the evening, they'll get a little bit of that, and it is beneficial to them. I have provided UVB bulbs for these guys. It's not necessary, it may not be necessary, but it's beneficial. They like, as you can see, the setup is just a normal bioactive setup. I've got the lightweight drainage layer here, then an ABG style mix, one that handles lower humidity. Oh, she's hunting again. Check her out. And then I've also got hiding places up high. They love that. Unlike crested geckos, which will often kind of find a place down on the ground to hide out, mourning geckos will occasionally hide in the cork bark. I have kind of a cork bark hide here for them. They'll use it once in a while. But generally they like to be up here in these little floral tubes, or up in the back, kind of hanging out. They'll actually bask quite a bit. They'll sit in this tree on the leaves right up at the top, right under the light, and bask there. So that's another reason why I think UVB is probably beneficial, because if they'll bask in a captive environment, they'll probably do it in the wild as well. They like crested gecko diet. You can keep them exclusively on crested gecko diet, and they'll actually grow pretty fast on it. But I like to give mine dusted insects. Fruit flies are a staple. I do give them other things like the confused flower beetles once in a while, that kind of stuff. I've given them bean beetles in the past. She is full size. They top out at about 3.5 inches, 4 inches, somewhere around there, including the tail. Yeah. Thanks. Steamfight Aquatics just mentioned he liked these tubes, and these are floral tubes. They cost me like 40 cents, something like that, at a floral shop, and then I just lined them with paper and taped them on with aluminum tape. Seemed to work really well for hides. They don't work that well for egg deposition sites. That's originally what I put them in for. I have had them lay eggs in them occasionally, but not commonly. Not as some of their geckos will do that more often, but they don't. So yeah, please feel free to steal it. I think that's cool. I'm hoping to share all of this. It really seems to work well for them. I'm going to try some other things for egg deposition. I usually find that they'll just lay them up in the the little seams and cracks up there, but occasionally they'll get weird and put them like on top of this plant, the crown of this little ficus tree here. There's a couple of them there that are about to pop. In fact, they are starting to turn kind of that blue-gray color. that you see a week or two before they hatch. So yeah, hopefully Jace Crazy Obsessions, that gives you the idea of kind of what we're talking about. I'm actually going to switch over to another, and thank you, Crystal, glad you like it. I'm going to switch over to another vivarium here now in the other room because I think that would be a good idea. So we're going to do that. All right, well, Steenfod Aquatics, thanks for dropping by. Really glad that you were able to come by. Oh, I was going to go over here. Even if you have to leave now, it was awesome that you were here for a little while. Let's just check up on the velvet ants. I've seen all three of them today running around. But today, I mean, at the moment, it looks like we've only got two. We've got my, this is, why am I blanking out? Dasymatilla biaculata. I found out that this one, asked my cousin, the entomologist, this one in the back that you can barely see because it's, oh, here it comes. This one, that's not very hairy. And it's got the black and white stripes on the abdomen. This one is a Timula species. And then the other one, the really big one that's hiding right now, is Dasymatilla klugi, he said, probably. So we're not sure on the species of the Timula, but it's probably Timula vagans. That's what I'm thinking after looking at it closely. So yeah, there you go. And we have given them names. I think the Timula, we call it DG, which stands for Drop the Groceries, because that's what everybody did when they saw the ant so that they could catch it for me. My wife and daughters did that. So DG stands for Drop the Groceries, which is kind of fun. Let's see. This other one that just disappeared, where'd she go? I must have scared her away. Is called, oh, this one, here she is. This one is called Thimbleberry because we found her next to a thimbleberry bush. And then the other one is called Oliver Bolivar Bumblebutt. And I didn't name it, but that's what the family named it, so that works. It's pretty cool. And yeah, I love these little gals. They're very cool. I've noticed, I've got video of it now and some photos of it. They are taking the nectar from the feeders. Well, there's only nectar in one feeder. That's just water in this one, but they're taking nectar from this feeder, and so it is a success. I'm very excited about that. It's working. I'm going to try some other foods. One thing I am going to try soon is that we have, I just made a batch of my DIY beetle jelly, which these ants, well, wasps, but you know, velvet ants will eat. But I tried it with a little bit of methylparaben, which is a mold retardant, because the only problem I've really noticed is if I keep it in the fridge for too long, it will get moldy sometimes, not always, but sometimes it will. And so I put a little bit of that I use in my fruit fly cultures to see if they still like it and if it still works. So we'll see how that goes. But yeah, I think they are very cool. These are one of my favorite insects of all time. I adore velvet ants, super cool. So maybe the big one will show up in just a minute, but we'll see how it goes. All right, so now I want to show you something else here. This is another update. And Pinchman, you're right, velvet ants are actually wingless wasps. The common name is velvet ant, but they're just wingless wasps. Okay, so let's take a peek here at what's going on. I just scared everybody by sitting down right in front of the tank. But as you can see, oh, Buy for Micah just had a sale where you buy the ant nectar and you get free feeders? Oh, I wish I had caught that. So, check it out. There are now something like, Supreme Gecko, cinnamon or vinegar help mold issue. That might help. I've used both cinnamon and vinegar in my fruit fly cultures and they do seem to work. I just don't know if it would work in this case with the beetle jelly. It might, or it might just scare everybody out. I mean, it might scare them away. I don't know. It's worth a try. I'm probably going to be experimenting with that and see. That's a good point, because I try to go for the easier fixes like that. But we'll see how it goes. That's a good suggestion. Hello, Jeremy. And Mr. Snake, congratulations on your ball pythons hatching. So, yeah, this tank has about 140-ish shells in it. at my last count. I recently just added about 100 shells. I also added some new blood. You see here in the corner on the far right at the bottom, that is one of the new fish. There are 4 new multis in here. That's part of the reason I added the shells. I decided to add all of those shells and kind of wiggled around, moved around some of the other shells so that when I added the new fish, they wouldn't get, wouldn't get attacked. And it seems to have worked, although a couple of the newbies are up here. They don't have a territory yet, and that's not necessarily something to be too concerned about. As long as they're not like spending all their time hiding behind the filter and stuff like that, usually okay in a larger colony. And right now this colony is not huge. I mean, it's doing well, but it could still support quite a few more fish. There are about 25 fish in here, something like that, and we'll see what we get. I'm hoping that they will breed really, really fast. I'm giving them brine shrimp, newly hatched brine shrimp, multiple times a day from my new brine shrimp hatchery, and they are gulping them down. In fact, in a minute, I think I want to try to feed them for you. You can check that out. It's kind of fun to watch them do that, if you haven't yet. Oh, only 2 of them survived. Sorry to hear that, but at least you got the 2. Yeah, I've made a lot of changes in this tank since you last saw it. I put this new heater in just a few days ago because my other heater was running a little hot. I'm still adjusting the temperature. And like I said, I added about 100 shells, which was fun. So let's see. Trying to catch up here. So Damien Figueroa. Oh, thank you. Glad you enjoyed the channel. Glad to have you here. And the new blood came from, I'm trying to remember what his name is. His name is Ron. It was on Aquabid, and I can't remember what his username is right now, but Bayviews, I think maybe it was Bayviews, and he breeds these in Florida. So I got a few of those a few weeks ago here. And JC, any possibility you're going to Tinley Park? Oh, I would love to go to the Tinley show. Not going this time around. I'm hoping to get there eventually. That's an awesome show from what I've heard, and would love to go there. So, Supreme Gecko. Yes, I would love a like spike. I would love that like button to get whacked. So if anybody wants to hit that like button, that'd be great. And Jeremy Morell, have you heard of spike-tailed Malaysian trumpet snails? I finally got some after 8 years of looking for them. I don't think I have. I would love to. Let's see. If anybody let's see, how many of our mods are on here? Well, Wally is on here, and he's a mod. If you're able to toss up a link to that would be awesome. If you want to do a quick Google search, you don't have to, but if you want to, I would love to see that. You can toss up a link there and people can take a look at those. That sounds pretty cool, actually. And thank you, Crystal. She just got the like button. You know, a funny thing about the like button, I think it doesn't update live for me, at least, as quickly as it does for you. I'm not sure. And, well, JC, I'm hoping to be able to go in the future. That would be super cool. It's quite a distance for me, but who knows? Someday I hope to be able to go. So, all right, I'm going to try something, everyone. I am going to see if I can set this down right here just for a second. Oh, look at that. You get an out-of-focus multi in the face right there. I'm going to just go grab some brine shrimp. Take me a second, and be right back. Oh, I forgot to get the collection cup. That'll take me a little longer, but only a second. There we go. Okay, I'm back. I've got the brine shrimp. I'm just opening the lid now to the aquarium. I'm going to pin on my microphone here. And Okay, here we go. Oh, the plane tickets are going to cost you $500 to get there. Wow. Yeah, that's quite a bit. Okay, I've got the stuff and I'm just setting everything up here so we can feed them. This is going to be fun, I think. Okay, so. All right. So Jeremy Morrell, that's the seller you got them from. That's the one you got your snails from. And okay, don't worry about it, Wally. Thanks for trying. I'm not sure what's going on with that, but we tried it. We'll have to check that out. Okay, here come the brine shrimp. Let's see how the fish do. Oh, I see what you're saying, Jeremy. Yeah, I don't think it'll let you post the link. It's doing some weird stuff. And Crystal is going to Aquashella in Chicago. Cool. I would like to go there too, but haven't made it to one of those yet. Okay. Yep. Now everybody's chowing down on newly hatched brine shrimp. I love that feeder. I know I said that in the other video about the feeder, but I'm just adoring it. It's so easy. I can harvest. I've been harvesting all day from that thing. I've probably harvested 6 times and it's still full of them. So it's nice. And it's been more than 24 hours and it's really not slowed down a whole lot. So, all right, so let's see where we are. So Cody says, been a while since you could catch a stream. Glad to see you there. Okay, so Jeremy Morrell says, the link isn't working, just search it on eBay. There's only one seller. Okay, cool. Yeah, I'm interested in hearing a little bit more about those. So with feedings like this, I'm giving them the baby brine shrimp. I'm giving them crushed flake food. I'm giving them microworms. I'm giving them amphipods and some Daphne once in a while. I think I'm going to get a lot of fry. Right now, there's only one small fry. It's not super small. It's probably about 1/3 of an inch long. Right in the middle of the screen is where its territory is, right over there. I don't see it at the moment. But I had to cull out the couple of fry that I had recently because they were not doing well. They had the spinal deformities that were pretty severe, so I had to cull out a couple. All right, so oh yeah, living in Hawaii was pretty cool in a lot of ways. I mean, there's difficult things about it, but as far as the flora and fauna goes, it was amazing. Really loved that. And Wally, yeah, I was skeptical too when I first saw the feeder. I was like, how does that even work? What is that thing? But then when Adam at the marine biology facility explained it to me, I thought, well, it sounds like it's worth a try. And so I'm glad I tried it. It's funny how there are things like that. Just looking at it, I wouldn't believe it does what it does, but it's amazing. So I'm glad I was able to help with that video. I'm getting a lot of comments on the video. Some people are saying, yeah, I use that thing all the time. And other people are saying, wow, I've never heard of anything like that. So it's a good mix, I guess. So they look and behave similar to normal Malaysian trumpet snails, except the adults develop spikes along the spiral of their shell. Cool. I would like to put some of those in my Opaiula aquaria, I think. That sounds pretty cool. And Calconort, common greenhouse millipedes. Do you know anything about them? Is that the, what's the name? Is Oxydus gracilis? Is that the scientific name of those? Apparently they breed really easily. They often show up in dart frog vivariums. If people bring in plants and they haven't completely sanitized them, they'll show up in there. So I know they will show up in Vivaria occasionally and end up being part of the cleanup crew, if that's the species you're talking about. But I don't know a ton about them otherwise, but apparently they're not difficult to breed. And Calconord, you have a ton booming in your tank. They eat poop like no tomorrow. Are there any cons? I don't know about their toxicity, but I would say if they're doing what you need them to do, they're functioning as part of your cleanup crew, I'd say you're probably good. So, interesting. Yeah, I'm always really cautious when trying out new cleanup crew species or cleanup species that I don't know other than isopods and springtails. Those are, generally pretty safe. But someone sent me some tiny little snails a while ago, and I put them in one of my crested gecko vivaria, and I thought, oh, I'm not seeing any, I wonder where they went. Just the other day I saw one. So obviously they're not breeding to plague proportions in there, which is great. But at the same time, I was kind of sad that they weren't, didn't seem to be doing well, but now they're there again, so maybe we'll be okay. And Jeremy Morell, how much does that brine feeder cost? I saw one at the club auction they got outbid on, wishing I'd gone higher. I want to say, if you go to the video that I made, there's a direct link to it on Amazon, and you can get it there. It's around $25 US dollars, I want to say, something like that. But if you go to brineshrimpdirect.com, you can also get it. It's a little bit cheaper because the shipping is a little bit cheaper. I think the shipping on Amazon is like $10, and there aren't Prime options. So if you have Prime to make for free shipping, it doesn't help. And then Brine Shrimp Direct also gives you a big bottle of brine shrimp eggs along with it. So I would say that's a pretty good source to go to, and I have a link to that in my description to that video as well. And let's see, Jay's Obsessions. Have you ever put our local pest snail shells in water? I've recently done a couple in my pea puffer tank. I love the sizes and colors. So are they the terrestrial snails that you can find around here? The, let's see, I'm trying to remember the scientific name. Shoot, can't do it. I think the species name is Adspersa. Or Aspersa, something like that. Is that the one you're talking about? For some reason I can't remember the genus name, which is a really it's like Helix Aspersa or something like that. I don't know if that's the one you're talking about. And Cody says, my wife is afraid of a lot of the invertebrates that I want to get. It's unfortunate. Yeah, I'm pretty lucky that way, except I am pretty lucky that way. My wife doesn't want me to have roaches, tarantulas, or anything with medically significant venom. I'm not too keen on getting anything with medically significant venom anyway, and I'm okay with not having tarantulas. I would be breeding roaches if I could, but I can't because of that, although I have some suspicions I might be allergic to them. But anyway, I've got a pretty good deal because I can keep almost anything else. So happy 13 bananas, welcome. And Jeremy Morell, I've heard that greenhouse millipedes can be a pest on tender shoots of plants in farms, but usually when no other food is available. Okay, that makes sense. So if you've got a vivarium where there's a lot of food, you don't need to really worry about it too much. And Crystal Pets and Plants. I know mixing isopod breeds is not a good deal, or not a good idea. Oh, you mean like keeping more than one species together in the same enclosure? I agree. I have found that when I have experimented with it, sometimes they'll do well for a while, even over a year, but eventually one outcompetes the other. That's been my experience. So I agree with you there, Crystal. And Cal Conort, I'm glad that's helping. Glad that information has been useful. And Jeremy Morell, a lot of Porcelia species have been documented preying upon soft-bodied geckos and amphibians even when they're healthy. See, I've been wondering about this. I want to know more about this. If I could, I want to find a place where these are documented, because I hear about it happening, but I don't know where the source is. I definitely know that they've attacked molting invertebrates and stuff, and I would love to hear more about this, because I don't doubt it. It's just the documentation needs to be, I need to see where it is. I want to know where it is so that we can share this, because hungry isopods can sometimes, it's crazy what they'll eat. And so I can believe it, but I want to put together some kind of database of what we know does happen and what we know doesn't happen, you know what I mean? About the Porcelio. I want to know more about it, because I feel like there are people who worry about it with good reason, but I don't know. We need to be able to say, this is what happened in this particular case, so be warned, that kind of stuff. And Evan says, I'd like to see some Mantas updates. So I can make that happen right now. Here, let me just pop over here to our little mantids. These have molted a couple of times since I've shown them the last, and they've both eaten today. We kept 2 of them, I've started giving them crickets in addition to the fruit flies, the Heidi fruit flies, which they've been eating for a while. Started them out on melanogaster fruit flies. And let's just get a size reference here. This is a 32-ounce deli cup, so that gives you some idea. And that is about how big they are. These were from the Utheca that we hatched out recently, and they've been molting and growing really fast. So I give them the crickets that I grow. I'm going to put them both together here so we can see them both on the screen, hopefully, if they cooperate. They're both about the same size right now. So yeah, they're doing great. And okay, so hopefully that helps with the Mantas updates. These are the only two we have, but they're doing well. And let's go check on the dart frogs, shall we? That sounds fun. Here we go. Oh, sorry, my thumb's right in front of the camera there. We'll get over to the dart frogs and see how they're doing. The glass probably needs to be straightened out, but here we go. There's a couple of them right there. I don't think I fed them today. That's one of my females in the middle of the screen right there. And actually both of those are two of my females showing up right now on the screen. The male is in there somewhere. I heard him calling earlier today, but I don't see him at the moment. Unfortunately, like I said, it's kind of cloudy in here because I misted it recently, but this rabbit's foot fern's doing well. My orchid's producing new leaves. The lemon button fern's doing well. I need to clip the selaginella back so it can grow properly. It's kind of yellowing a little bit. My bromeliads, my new regalias are doing well. I had to cut back my philodendron a little while ago. Did that. So there you go. And Crystal's Pets and Plants. So you've kind of done the same thing with your mantis. Yeah, you know what we ought to do is somewhere, I don't know if it's a place to put a page where we can do it on a website. Maybe I can even put it on my website, or something like Isopod Cleanup Crew warning page or something, and have people post their accounts of what has happened when they have isopods eat things, and then maybe explain, document it a little bit. That's all I'm saying. Just so that we know, oh, well, this is a bad combination. You know what I mean? Exactly what is a bad combination. I think that would be kind of cool. So maybe we should do that. Oh, my big velvet ant is out. Let's check it out. Okay, here we go. Hope I didn't scare her. Oh, you see her? The big one, Dasimutilla klugi, probably. She is out and about. Now I don't see my medium-sized one, the one that I caught locally, but at least the big one's out and the tiny one's out. So there you go. So, okay, scrolling back here. Yeah, I would like to know, that's what we could put. It says, this is what happened. This is the species of isopod I had. This is the species of gecko or other animal that got attacked. And this is the extent of the damage, that kind of thing. And Jay's Crazy Obsessions. What, still breeding? Curious about that. And Crystal's, okay. Heather Jensen was able to make it, awesome. So, Wally at Supreme Gecko just posted a quick question on the Facebook Isopod group page concerning Porcelia taking nips out of reptiles. I'm very curious too. Cool, I think that's a great start. We can get some data on that. That would be pretty cool. Okay, and Jerry Morrell, I want to say it was Saracenorum or some other rare New Caledonian species, but don't quote me on that. Wow, that'd be a bummer. I mean, of course, any gecko being eaten by your isopods is a bummer. Sorry. Yeah, Jay's Crazy Obsessions. Are the frogs breeding still? I haven't been seriously encouraging them to breed, but I've not consistently encouraging them by keeping their breeding pool full. But I've started to try to mist it a little bit more lately, so I'll try to be more consistent on that and see if I can get them to breed again this season. Probably won't be too hard. I think that would be good. So, okay, yes, this is good. Thank you, Wally and Jeremy, for working on getting some names for us and some folks here. So I want to show you all. I ended up moving my desert beetles. I'm going to pull one out here. I'm going to explain this, okay? Desert beetles and velvet ants usually mix pretty well, okay? And here's one of my big old desert beetles. This is an Eleodes species. It's not blue death fanning beetle. It's not a death fanning beetle at all. These are the desert clown beetles. They release repugnatorial fluid, but it's huge. And this was my problem. They were actually knocking down the feeders. And that's why I'm not keeping them with my velvet ants, because I don't want them knocking down the feeders. That and the fact that they tend to track their feet in the honey and whatnot and make a mess on the glass. So that's why I'm not keeping them together right now. With different setups I might, but I just wanted to make sure the velvet ants were doing really well first before I messed with any of that, and to see if they'd use the feeders. And with the beetles knocking down the feeders, that's hardly an ideal scenario for determining that. So I've separated them for the time being, but they still seem to be doing well. And there you go. So just wanted to share that. That they don't mix with the feeders, even though the velvet ants are now using the feeders, and I'm totally excited about that. But there you go. Okay. All right. Heather Jensen says, I put a cicada skin in my dairy cow container, but they have not touched in a few weeks. Thought maybe they would eat the exoskeleton. Honestly, I'm surprised by that, because I'll tell you what, I'm going to do a video about it. I have some footage about it already, but I put a snake skin in my powder orange isopod container the other day, and it was gone overnight. I think I remember Jay was saying something about that he put snake skin in. Love watching my isopods break down snake shit. It takes about 4 weeks, but they put in work. And, you know, in my case, I've got lots and lots of powder orange isopods, but they ate it up so fast, that the next day it was pretty much gone. And I'm going to be releasing a video showing, you know, updates every hour or so for a few hours to see how it looks. All right, Dinosaurs Terror World, greetings, and Nature Zone, Aquarium Cup, welcome all. So Primetime Gecko, how's the leopard gecko doing? Really well. I posted a video of the leopard gecko on Instagram the other day, just eating a few crickets out of my hand. If you're not on my Instagram, just check out Aquarium X Pets on Instagram. My Instagram account is extremely new. I just started it, like 2 weeks ago, something like that. And there you go. Oh, maybe you are talking about a different leopard gecko, not sure. Dinosaurs Terror World, my African fat-tailed gecko seems to have an issue with his toe. It seems to grow into a huge blue. Should I be considered on that? I would worry about that, yes. There could be an infection going on, could be some kind of abscess, or it could be possibly an angioma of some kind. I'd worry about that. If you can take it to the vet, that'd probably be a good idea. That sounds like a problem. If it's huge and blue, there could be all sorts of issues there. Let's see. And Jay's Crazy Obsession. That's a 4-foot ball python shed in a pothos plant that I don't take care of the isopods. I just hope they live. That makes sense. Yeah. If it takes 4 weeks, because you're not feeding the isopods all the time, so you don't have a huge population, but they're still taking care of it. I think that's pretty awesome, actually. And Nature Zone, do you know what filmy ferns are? They're wicked cool. I don't know what filmy ferns are, but that sounds cool. I'd like to see some of that. Now here's an interesting thing. If this is going to work, I hope so. It looks as if 2 of the new multis have taken up shop over here, but you can actually tell the difference between them and the others by the color. This one in the bottom right corner is darker, and then the small one behind, you know, a little bit further back in the aquarium, right in the center of the screen right now, is darker than all the others. And that's one of the reasons I was able to tell them apart. But their counterparts that came with them that are up here, that haven't claimed territories yet, are not darker anymore. And the color has something to do with their dominance and so on, their hierarchy. It's interesting. Pretty cool. Okay, Asplenium Holophlebbium. It's smaller than some filmies and a teeny bit faster, growing more forgiving, but it's the same genus as bird's nest ferns. Okay, I am familiar with bird's nest ferns to some degree, so that's cool. Moss-like ferns with leaves a cell thick. I got some from Hawaii. That's cool. I do remember seeing bird's nest ferns in Hawaii. A lot of fun ferns and a lot of liverworts there too. Really cool ones. And mosses, of course. Lots of cool things. All right. So this group over here of Maltese has been kind of interesting because they had the biggest batch of babies and they're still hanging out with their parents. I've heard that the older babies will actually help the babies take care of their younger siblings, which is cool. I have never witnessed that yet, but I hope to. The jumping spiders are doing well. Just lost my mic a second. Okay, so let's take a look at the spiders, the jumping spiders. I put them up here because they really like bright light. I'm going to move this over just a little bit. There are the remains of a cricket that I fed out this morning. If you can look at the, I don't know if you can see it very well, but you can see there's a nest sac there. She's got an egg sac in there, and you can see her kind of her silhouette showing through. She produced the second egg sac a week or so ago. You can kind of see the yellow of the eggs in there. It's kind of fun. She has been eating like a pig both before and after she laid this egg sac. And the guy at Big Fat Fids said that this one should be fertile as well. They can store sperm between mating, so I'll probably get a big batch of babies. Last time there were only about 40 or so. But he said I should get a big batch here. And this batch I'll probably be releasing outside. And then my other little one, my Phidippus regius, which I'm so excited about, and I think I've shown you before, looks like she just completed her molt. So she's still in the molt sac. You can see right there, kind of above her from the standpoint of the screen, further away from the bottom of the screen, towards the top of the screen. You can see the skin, and then you can see her. And I'm not going to mess with her because she just molted today. But there you go. She's going to get quite a bit bigger. I've been waiting for her. She started going off her food and building this nest, and I thought, okay, she's probably going to molt. I asked the guy at Big Fat Fids, and he said, yep, that's what's going on. Just leave her alone for a little while, and she'll be fine. So I'm excited that she's growing and eating well. It's kind of fun. And here is my 40-gallon breeder that's still empty. I'm going to put a pair of red-sided California garter snakes in there, hopefully. Eventually, I have to save up for that. It's going to take a while. But there you go. According to Bush, welcome. Yeah, and then here is Nature Zone saying got bamboo orchids, mud sevilla orchid, tree fern, and a weird plant that looks like a cactus. A cat? Is that a cactus or cat? I don't know. So I used to export plants from Hawaii, but they were grown in my aquaria. The first thing that I really sold on Aquabid that I remember selling anyway were plants that I would raise in my aquaria, and then I would ship them out of Hawaii, and I had to go to the plant quarantine and inspection station and get them checked out every single time I shipped them out. So I'd pack them up, except for taping the box. Then I'd have to go get them inspected and then tape up the box, and they would stamp it and do all this stuff. So did you have to go through that? Jeremy Morel says, "Would you get a peek at your high yellow vulgaris or even a separate update video on them? I think I caught 2-second long clip of yours holding them in a recent video of yours." Yes, that was a clip of a couple of the adults in a recent video that I did on isopods being the best pet invert. So, ooh, Nature Zone, that is a tempting offer. I am deciding whether or not I'm going to go bioactive on it initially because the snakes are going to be so little at first. But that does sound cool. And when I do go bioactive, I'll be talking to you. But I'm thinking I might have to do something else for a while before the snakes grow up. But that's actually sounds pretty awesome. I love your setups that you do. And Texas Fishing with Dan the Man. Hey Russ, do you have any secret tips regarding breeding isopods? Let me think about that for a minute. Is there anything I haven't already revealed in my videos about isopod breeding that, well, let's see. I'm going to talk about the things that I have tried and that have worked for me. One is, but I don't know if these are things that I have not revealed yet, if they're secret or not, but I would say make sure they get plenty of supplementary food. You know, the leaves and the substrate, that is their main source of food, but plenty of supplementary food, but don't let anything get moldy. So it's kind of a trick. I'm not a trick, but it's it's a difficult thing to do. I'm going to try to get my Armadillidium vulgare high yellow out here as we talk about this, because it has been requested. So let's see what we can get. I don't know if we'll see any good ones or not, but we'll try. Okay, and then okay, I'm going to take a look at that. Supplementary food makes a huge difference. Let's just put it that way. And things like bug burger are great ones for that. It doesn't have to be bug burger. Anything with high protein helps a lot. Oh, sorry, I just turned that over. Okay, let's take a peek down here and see what we can find on these high yellows. The problem is when they're young, it's hard to tell what they're going to look like when they grow up. Oh, there's some dead ones there too. That does happen. But you can see some of these have some interesting patterns, but whether or not it's going to persist into adulthood is another thing. We don't really know. But see this one? I think if that one matures and those colors brighten up, that's going to be amazing if that happens. Or like this one right here. You know, that's we'll see if that sticks. Let's see what else we got here. Oh, there's a ton right here. See, some of those look fairly promising. I see a lot of those that look like they're coloring up, but we just don't know if it's going to stick. That's been the problem. Gold nugget. Oh, I like it. I like it. And one problem is that these are not, you know, there are not a ton of adults in here that I'm seeing right now. So, all right. Oh, the guy at the airport. Yeah, and the inspection station that I went to is at the airport as well. So hopefully that helps on those. But I like that name, Wally. We might have to stick with that. That's probably my biggest tip is just make sure they get plenty of supplemental food, but don't put in any more than will be eaten in a short period of time. So use supplementary food a little bit often, you know, something like that. So let's look at, oh, you found a place to ship it to the US. That sounds cool. The Arcadia Custodian Fuel Isopod Food. I've heard good things about it, but I've never tried it myself. Let's see if we can find a rubber ducky or two. I'm going to try to pull those out. Sorry, it's a very non-conducive angle visually. Sorry about that. Just a moment. I'll be right back. I'm going to sanitize my hands between different cultures here. Prefer to do that. Oh, you're staring right at the light. That's not what I meant to do. Sorry about that. That is unpleasant, I'm sure, for everybody involved. Let's fix that. Okay, now let's see if we can find a rubber ducky or two. Okay. All right. And, you know, Nature's Own, I use a heat pad on I use a heat mat, like a heat plate, whatever you want to call it. The Flex Watt kind of stuff. Let's see, they're often hiding in this limestone, but I don't see one there right now. That piece of limestone. Let's look at this other piece of limestone for the rubber duckies. Is anybody hiding in there? I have to dig around a little bit, I guess. Here. There are still not very many in here. I don't think they've bred yet. I hope they do soon. Last time I checked, I found some hanging around, but I didn't see any babies yet. Hopefully they'll they'll get to that. Let's see. Oh, there's one right there. See it? Let me pull it out here. Check out the rubber ducky. It's hard to focus on it. Okay. So and Jeremy Morel, that's a good idea. The only thing I have to be careful about is I have to make sure there are enough males in there, because the males don't show the color. It's kind of like calicos, where you get mostly females showing the color and the males don't. So there's one of the rubber duckies kicking around. That's kind of fun. Sorry, the focus is not great right now. It's hard to maintain the focus. But I'm going to put that back now because it's going to crawl off my hand. Okay. And I don't want to lose it. Okay, so here I go. I'm going to put these pieces of limestone back in. Sorry, that was probably hard to watch there. And then, oh, I don't want to lose any of my leaves either. Okay, so I'm putting that back. And, all right. So back we go over here for a minute while I catch up on chat. Okay, so yeah, the heating is always tricky. I have chosen not to heat mine just because I've found out I tried heating some and they ended up crashing the culture, so I don't do that anymore. But I think a fairly warm room certainly speeds up breeding for a lot of them. And yeah. Okay. So Jeremy Morel says this high yellow started out with only colorful females, but males started showing up after a few generations. I found some wild populations that have stunner yellow males too. Cool. Well, maybe if I can get a few of those. Hey, look at that. We've got 27 likes and 27 viewers right now. That's pretty awesome. If you haven't hit that like button, let's go ahead and do it, and we'll get more likes than we have viewers. That would be cool. That'd be nice to see. We only have about 8 more minutes. Oh, that was fast. We got a ton more likes. That was the fastest like spike I've ever seen, I think. That's awesome. Thank you, everybody. Let's take a look at my Ivory Millipedes, since we have a few minutes and they're right over there. Shall we? Anybody opposed to checking out the Ivory Millipedes? Whoa! Okay. They're actually doing really well. Pretty excited about it. I've got a lot of young ones here. So some of my babies are just almost as big as my adults. See that? The one in the middle of the screen is an adult male, and the one just under and to the left of it is one of the babies. So they're growing. There's quite a few babies. I've got another batch of babies, another cohort or generation or whatever you want to call it. They're all hiding now because I decided to bring them in here. But I'm going to dig around just a touch here. A lot of springtails in here, which is good. See, here's some somewhat younger babies, but I've even seen some really, really young babies in here recently too. Much, much smaller than these. And, okay. There we go. And all right. And thank you, Breaker. I appreciate that. I want to show you what I got going here. This is a shrimp tail. We had a shrimp recipe the other day, and I put the shrimp tails in here, and the isopods and millipedes eat them. The millipedes are slower, but they've eaten most of this one already, and I just leave it in there. They'll nibble it down. The isopods really munch them down, and some of the isopods just eat those so fast, it's not even funny. But it's cool. Let's see. I'm going to see if I can find, without digging into the substrate too much, because that's not a good idea. With millipedes, you can kill them if they're molting that way. But, oh, I found a tiny little baby. Check it out, right there. A couple of fungus gnats, too. Wouldn't be complete without fungus gnats, right? Look at that little baby. So this is one of the newer ones from this more recent generation, but there are a whole ton of these other ones around as well. So Okay. And JC. Oh yeah, millipedes can be expensive. I think ivories are one of the best to start with because they're really not that expensive. You can get them for $7 or so, $7 to $9, something like that. Oh, and Wally, that's a good idea. Local reptile shows, you can often find them. I know here at the reptile shows, they'll often have the orthoporous millipedes, which don't really breed in captivity, but they're available and they're pretty hardy and will last quite a long time if you take good care of them. So that's a good option. And have I noticed that springtails like bone? I don't know if I've had any bone in any of my springtail cultures, but that's worth a try. And Evan, how long do ivories take to reach full size? Good question. Not entirely sure about that. I got some. All of mine that I got were babies, not babies. They were juveniles when I got them. Some of them were to the point where they were distinguishable. I could distinguish male from female, but not. They weren't fully grown, and within probably 6 months, I think they were close to full grown. So African black millipedes are insanely expensive. Yes, that is true. And the reason why they're so expensive is because there was a ban on millipedes. I want to say 10 or 11 years ago. They banned the importation of millipedes into the U.S. So you can still get a lot of those species because there are captive bred populations of them, but you can't import them anymore, and so they now cost a lot more because they're all captive bred, which is great from the standpoint of conservation of the millipedes, but from the standpoint of supply and demand, it does make things more expensive. And cool, okay. So anyway, there are my millipedes. There are quite a few more in here, but I don't want to dig in the substrate because everybody knows that's a no-no if they're molting. I've got some big females in here. One of them is an ebony ivory, which is cool. You can see on this male that's right here, you can see his saddle. He's got the segment that's enlarged right there, and that shows where the gonopodia are situated on the underside of the body, so it shows that it's a male. Very easy to distinguish male from female in this species. I wish it were that easy in some of the other species. It can be kind of tricky. So, just got a couple more minutes. If there's anything else you want to see that was within arm's reach, let me know. I'm going to just take a look at our centipede and see how she's doing here. Oh, she's doing okay. This is our Scolopendra polymorpha, desert tiger centipede. She's doing okay. One thing you got to be careful, even though these are desert centipedes, they always need a moist spot. They need to be able to either get a drink or rest in a moist spot, or they can die. People sometimes miss out on that. So I need to make sure she's got some water in there, but it's got a bunch of sand in it. I need to take care of that. Anyway, pretty cool species. Kind of easily frightened for centipedes. Some centipedes are a lot more bold than they are, but that's really cool. And then one more thing I want to do. These are from Wally. Wally sent me some Porcellio ornatus yellow dot. And they're going nuts. There are so many in here. I don't even know how many. There's a few babies on this piece of wood. They're not hanging out on the cork bark a lot, but if I dig in here, they're just everywhere. There's tons of them, just all over the place. So they're doing really well. There's a young male right there. See if I can grab it. Sorry, the focus is going out. Oh, I dropped him, sorry. But anyway, I wanted to say thanks, Wally, for these guys, because they are so active. I like the little yellow dots they have on their posterior area. And they're just breeding fantastically for me. I think they're breeding just as well as the Porcellio laevis, which is pretty incredible. I must have well over 100 in here, I don't even know. But they're fun. I know that Wally posted a video on these guys and how they're one of the best beginner isopods because they're so active and easy to breed, and they're a great gateway isopod into the Spanish Porcelias because they're large and they need some of the same things as other Spanish Porcelias, but they're both very active and they're on the hardier side, so you're not going to mess them up very easily. They're easy to do well with. You're probably going to succeed. So anyway, they're really fun. Thanks again, Wally, for sending me these. You know, in comparison to things like Porcelia magnificus, my Porcelia magnificus are super shy. They haven't bred yet for me. They also grow more slowly. They're cool, but these Porcelia ornatus are something to just really consider if you want to get into some of the Spanish isopods. I think they're pretty cool. So thanks, Wally, for opening my eyes to Porcelia ornatus yellow dot. And with that, I'm going to give you a final shot of some of my velvet ants and just say thank you for joining in. Thank you for all the likes. Please stay tuned for my video on Friday. And Heather's calling for a final like spike. I think that's awesome. So anybody else? Oh, we're getting some there. That's awesome. And I've heard of that, Jeremy. Heard of that variety. Would love to get that. And that's about it. So have a great day, everybody.